There's a fine line between caring and controlling, between depth and destruction. Think of depth like a tide, nourishing when it flows, destructive when it floods. For INFJs, that line between love and overwhelm is often invisible until it's too late. We're uncovering 8 ways your loving nature can accidentally harm relationships, and how to see the warning signs before they take hold. By the end, you'll see which of these patterns you lean into and what to do about it. Stay with us. Trust me, this could change how you love forever. And it all begins with the part of you that wants to help the people you love the most. Before we start, please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our weekly deep dives into the world of personality types. And if you are looking to achieve a deeper understanding of yourself and your personality type, click the link in the comments to take our favorite free personality test. Number 1. The savior complex that creates codependency. The first trap is what we can call the savior complex, the urge to rescue someone until their life feels like your responsibility. You see their struggles, and instead of standing beside them, you start imagining who they could become if only you guided every step. That vision feels noble, almost like a mission, but underneath it, you begin to tie your worth to their dependence. Little by little, support turns into doing. You solve their problems, cushion their failure, and even handle everyday tasks. A red flag is when you find yourself scheduling their appointments or solving problems they can handle. At that point, the line between helping and enabling disappears. They stop growing because you've taken away the struggle that would have made them stronger. You don't just witness their recovery, you merge with it, and your identity starts to blur with theirs. To break the cycle, pause and ask, I want to support you. What can you do, and what do you want me to do? This keeps responsibility in their hands while keeping your care intact. Real love allows space for independence. Remember this simple truth: help to lift, not to replace. And when you start confusing rescue with connection, it often opens the door to the next pattern, one where the vision of who someone could be overshadows who they truly are in the present now. Number 2, idealization that crushes reality. Idealization that crushes reality begins when you start loving the picture in your head more than the person in front of you. Your intuition spins a vivid story of who they could become with your love, and soon the real, imperfect human blurs beneath the fantasy. You often get drawn to quirks and authenticity, which fuels this future-focused vision. The key question to check yourself with is simple. Do you love who they are, or who you imagine they'll be? That imagined future can create silent contracts a partner never agreed to, expectations that they'll grow into roles you've already designed. When they don't, the heartbreak cuts deeper than simple disappointment. What falls apart isn't just the relationship, but the imagined life you'd already been living in your mind. The loss feels overwhelming because it isn't just about them. It's about the collapse of the dream. This gap between vision and reality leaves cracks of frustration, and those cracks often don't get voiced directly. They show up instead in your silence. Number 3, emotional withdrawal as silent punishment. You withdraw. You think it's protection. It isn't. Pulling away in silence may feel like self-preservation, but to the person beside you, it lands as punishment. The quiet is not neutral. It becomes a signal that love has turned conditional. INFJs are private and can retreat when hurt, which often looks like emotional absence. But this retreat builds walls instead of bridges. Your partner starts scanning every word and gesture, trying to avoid triggering the next wave of silence. They learn to tiptoe rather than trust. What feels like safety to you feels like a cold war to them. Each episode deepens the distance until you're living together but apart. Your silence doesn't resolve conflict. It preserves your resentment and slowly drains intimacy. Emotional withdrawal tells your partner less about the problem and more about how alone they are in it. A healthier move is to use a simple timeout statement. I need a little space to think. Let's talk again soon. That turns absence into honesty, and prevents silence from becoming control. But withdrawal isn't the only quiet form of control. The same instinct that pulls you inward can also push outward, into assuming you already know what someone else is thinking. Number 4. Intuition turned invasive mind reading. Intuition that feels like mind reading can be a gift at first, but it can quietly shift into control. You feel sure you know what your partner thinks or feels without asking. Your intuition whispers about hidden motives, unspoken doubts, or secret judgments, so convincing that you skip the simple step of checking if you're right. You study their tone, their pauses, their smallest expressions until you believe you know them better than they know themselves. But intuition without communication is only an assumption, and you start assigning motives without asking. Those guesses turn into reactions, and suddenly you're arguing or soothing feelings they may not even have. For your partner, this constant reading feels less like intimacy and more like surveillance. They can't just have a bad day without you diagnosing a cause. They end up feeling known but not truly seen, interpreted but not heard. To test yourself, try asking one clarifying question before reacting. One question, not a diagnosis. Click the link in the comments to take our favorite free personality test. Because when love becomes performance under constant analysis, the next pattern often emerges, giving too much even at your own expense until sacrifice itself becomes the story. Number 5. Martyrdom that controls the narrative. You give until it hurts, and then you keep proving you deserve love by suffering. This is the heart of martyrdom that controls the narrative. Each act of sacrifice stacks onto an invisible ledger, convincing you that your worth depends on how much you endure. On the surface, it looks like devotion, but beneath it, your struggles start to steer everything. A clear sign is when your sacrifice is the primary reason decisions are made, plans bend, choices get delayed, and entire days are rearranged so no one has to watch you give too much. Over time, your partner learns to shrink their needs to avoid triggering your martyrdom. They stop asking, they stop reaching, and what once felt like love begins to feel like walking through a shrine built to your suffering. True generosity doesn't keep score, but in this pattern, your pain becomes the currency of every interaction. If you want to shift that cycle, try tracking one tiny boundary. Decide on one thing: I will not do X without asking, and practice keeping it. Small, steady boundaries protect both your care and your balance. And when sacrifice turns into strategy, there's another pattern lurking close by, the one where boundaries stop being flexible and instead harden into absolutes. Number 6. All or nothing boundaries that isolate. You're either fully in or completely shut out. That's the essence of all or nothing boundaries that isolate. With this approach, someone either has total access to your inner world, or they're kept outside with no path in. It feels clean and protective, but it leaves no room for trust to grow slowly, or for mistakes to be forgiven and repaired. Your partner begins to sense the fragility of your connection. If one mistake feels like exile, that's the all or nothing trap. Every slip or misunderstanding carries the weight of a permanent loss. Instead of freedom to be human, they live under a constant test: perform perfectly or risk being shut out. Over time, the fear of rejection starts to replace intimacy, and closeness begins to wither. The irony is that these walls don't just keep danger away. They keep you from the warmth you long for. Relationships thrive on flexibility, on the gradual weaving of trust through everyday flaws and recoveries. Let trust be earned in small gestures, not in a single pass-fail test. And when rigidity takes hold, it often feeds the next hidden pattern, the one where your past wounds quietly shape how you see the person standing before you right now. Number 7. Projecting your trauma onto partners. Projection turns old wounds into present conflicts. This is the pattern of projecting your trauma onto your partner, seeing them through a lens shaped by pain that isn't theirs to carry. Unhealed experiences can blur into your current relationship, making the present feel like a replay of the past. You start noticing threats that aren't really there, anticipating abandonment where there's only lateness, detecting criticism where there's only fatigue. These misreadings transform into self-fulfilling prophecies. Your defensiveness creates the exact distance you fear, leaving your partner confused about why every small moment seems so heavy. When this happens, they're not answering for their own actions. They're answering for someone else's. You end up reacting to shadows of history while missing what's right in front of you. A simple test can interrupt the cycle when you react, pause, and ask, is this about now or someone who hurt me before? That one pause can separate memory from reality. Defend against the past, but live in the present. And when fear softens its grip, another challenge comes forward. The demand for closeness so deep it can feel overwhelming. Number 8, suffocating need for deep connection. You need depth, and that need can feel like pressure. What starts as a beautiful hunger for intimacy quickly turns into an expectation that every moment must carry meaning. Every conversation should unlock truth. Every interaction should reveal hidden layers. At first, this intensity feels electric, like discovering a rare language only the two of you speak. But over time, the weight of that demand begins to strain the connection. Your partner may start to perform depth instead of living it. A red flag is when your partner starts performing depth instead of feeling it, shaping conversations into staged scenes instead of speaking freely. The relationship begins to resemble constant analysis, where even casual exchanges feel graded for emotional value. The pursuit of seriousness crowds out laughter, lightness, and quiet presence. To release that pressure, try a simple experiment. Schedule ordinary time. No analysis allowed. Lazy Sundays. Dumb jokes. Shared silence. Real connection thrives when there is a balance between depth and the everyday. And recognizing that balance points to the larger truth. Awareness of these hidden patterns is not about blame, but about growth. Conclusion isn't about judgment, it's about choosing what comes next. Recognizing these patterns shows you where change is possible, not where you've failed. Trust me, every insight you've gained today is an opening for something healthier. Which of these patterns surprised you most? Share one small change you'll try this week in the comments. Your awareness gives you a choice. Keep repeating the old cycle, or start reshaping habits toward balance and connection. And if you want to continue the journey to understanding yourself or an INFJ in your life, click either of the following videos, where we continue to unlock the secrets of the INFJ personality type.